All right, this is big time. Coming at you today with a story for the future of America. Got two stories of They're Coming for the Kids. And as always, on this channel, we cover defensive gun use. Trying to keep the format of articles before videos. So I've got 3 articles today, 1 video. So short stream. Half of South Africa's population are 100% dependent on state welfare. ANC leaders boast this is a good thing. The R350 Social Relief of Distress Grant has seen the number of welfare recipients skyrocket to half the population of the country. The introduction of the grant at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 increased the number of those getting financial assistance from the government to a whopping 29 million. This number includes 18 million traditional recipients of state welfare, namely old age, child support, and disability grants. The R350 grant has added an additional 11 million state-dependent people. This means that almost 30 million of South Africa's 60 million citizens are now welfare recipients. ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa on Friday told residents of Botshabelo in Mangwang, the R350 grant was costing the state billions. South Africa was the only country on the African continent dishing out freebies to its citizens at such a rate, he said. Ramaphosa specifically mentioned that as part of this expensive welfare program, the government had built over 4 million houses and was financing the tertiary education of close to 1 million students from indigent homes. Indigent, like indigenous? We realized that a lot of workplaces had closed due to COVID-19, and we had to increase grants for a short period. We increased the old age and child support grants. Under further inspection, we realized that a lot of people were not working, and we introduced a new R350 grant that now caters for 11 million people, he told residents of L section in the Free State's biggest township. When we add the 18 million that were already receiving monthly grants, the total number increased to 29 million people in South Africa that are receiving monthly grants. 11 million receive R350, while 18 million receive old age and child support grants. We are the only country here in Africa that is giving grants to almost half of its population, because here in South Africa, there are 60 million people and 29 million are getting money from the state every month. Boy, who's paying for all that? I know the Afrikaans people were down there, and I know that 15 to 1700 of them went further into the desert and created basically an all-white town called Oranje. And I know that a couple of those people at Oranje went to Jerusalem to learn how to do drip irrigation. So in other words, how to grow crops in the desert. And I'm not sure how 60 million people, you're telling me the government of South Africa can't do the same thing? They can't send some of their government people to Israel to learn how to grow crops in the desert? Why can the Afrikaans people do it, but the, what are these, the Bantu? Why can't they do it? Anyway, he said the government was aware the R350 was not enough, but it was going a long way in assisting South Africans. Yeah, for how long? The dependency of state coffers by social welfare recipients may cause more headaches if the ANC resolution at the 55th National Conference is to be implemented. The conference resolved that the governing party was in full support of a permanent basic income grant for the jobless. How much it will be and where the money will come from was left in the hands of the newly elected National Executive Committee. Social Development Minister and NEC member Lindiwe Zulu said social grants for the unemployed were a good thing for the country, and the debate of there being no money to fund it should be secondary. Oh, they're going to burn it into the ground, bro. According to Zulu, the economic situation in the country and the standard of living is getting out of control and calls for state intervention to help cushion the effects for the indigent. Zulu said the reality was that besides unemployment, millions did not have education or the skills to become economically active, but still have to survive. Social grants are a good thing. This country cannot afford to have hungry people. This country cannot afford to have people not having the basics. This country cannot afford to have people who can't have soap and a face cloth to wash their bodies, toothpaste and toothbrush to brush their teeth, bread on the table. This country cannot afford that. So you cannot afford as a nation to have so many people who are outside of anything. We just can't afford it. Yeah. I wonder how long that'll last. All right, so that was some international news of the welfare state taking over South Africa. 2, they're coming for the children's stories. Non-biological women are women. 2 males set to compete for title of Miss Germany. Yeesh. 2 of the top 20 candidates set to compete in the Miss Germany semifinals are biological men who identify as women. Miss Germany is the country's national pageant, which has been held annually since 1927. While it was traditionally a conventional beauty pageant, the competition was revamped 2 years ago to shift focus from women's appearance to their characters and achievements. In the FAQ, the Miss Germany's official website asserts that it considers itself a feminist competition and that it strongly supports social justice-related movements. The work of Miss Germany Studios is based on critical analysis of gender, equality, and self-determination. We actively fight sexism and support the mission of all women and marginalized groups. It reads in response to the question, are we feminists? I'm not sure how you support women when you allow biological men in women's spaces. That's kind of a contradiction, right? Under the new pageant spirit, Miss Germany states its goal is to empower authentic women. Uh-oh. That sounds like biology. But earlier this month, Miss Germany announced the top 20 candidates who will be moving on to the semifinals to be held at the beginning of February. Of them, 2 are male. Lauren Kaczmarczyk, 22, and Saskia von Bargen, 18, have advanced into the semifinals of the national pageant, both of whom are representing the state of Lower Saxony. The top 20 candidates are all profiled on the official Miss Germany site and Instagram, which advertises that the title of Miss Germany is an award for future makers, dreamers, and visionaries. Among the female candidates whose missions can be read alongside their portraits, I can't say these names, are Kaczmarczyk and von Bargen. The man has had multiple posts dedicated to profiling him on the Miss Germany Instagram, one of which prominently features a photo of the Progress Pride flag. I stand primarily as a woman in this contest who is tired of being categorized as a marginalized minority and reduced to their gender. The confused man said, once people experience my trans identity, they focus on that aspect and see me as special, which empowers them to ask us trans people inappropriate, intimate, and personal questions. Just let me in your spaces, women. Just let me in your shelters and let me in your locker rooms. Despite identifying himself as transgender repeatedly, the confused male has said that his mission for participating in Miss Germany is because I want to be considered as a woman and not a trans woman. You're not a woman. Another trans-identified male contestant selected for the semifinals is Saskia von Bargen, who has ostensibly been transitioning since a young age. Von Bergen writes that he believes non-biological women are women in his Miss Germany mission statement. I'm Saskia. I am 18 years old and trans woman. First and foremost, I want to show people, especially trans people, that a non-biological woman is also a woman. A woman does not identify herself by gender or appearance, be it feminine or masculine. Every woman and every man should feel comfortable in his body, and if that is not the case, have no inhibitions or fears. There should be no consideration for how other people take it because only you should feel comfortable and happy. In contrast, the female contestants in the pageant have shared vastly different mission statements. Vanessa Didem, a 30-year-old chimney sweep, stated her goal for participating in Miss Germany was to strengthen the role of women in society and the workforce. She shares that upon beginning her career, she quickly noticed how much headwind, prejudices, and seemingly insurmountable obstacles one encounters as a woman in a male-dominated working world and in society. Okay. Another candidate, Tania Moser, said her goal was to encourage women to demand better conditions in all areas of life. Moser, a CEO of a pet supply startup, is also a new mother. I became a mother in January, and I have not given up my career, she says. I wonder if it was a geriatric pregnancy. I wonder if she was 35. What is it? When women hit 30, what is it? 80% of their eggs are scrambled. She'd give them a meme of a milk of a empty egg carton. We're a lot further along today than we were a generation ago, but unfortunately, there's still inequality. Right. So she has a career. She's starting up a pet supply. She's also having kids. What obstacles are you facing? We women have to demand more from employers, our families, our partners, politicians, and last but not least, society. Well, you're getting it. Society is now demanding that men can be in your spaces, you stupid bitch. The participation of two men in the Miss Germany pageant is just the latest instance in the recent trend of the inclusion of men in women's competitions, sports, and award ceremonies. In December, a professional gamer, Alessandro Ribeiro, was awarded a top female gamer award by League of Legends Sports Brazil, despite being a biological male. Soon after, Ribeiro stepped down from his esports association following allegations that he had been sexually predatory towards a minor. I can't believe it! The BBC was also under fire last month after honoring two trans-identified males on their list of 2022's most inspiring and influential women. One of the selectees, Erica Hilton, is a transgender politician in Brazil currently seeking to have a women's rights advocate imprisoned for misgendering him. That's right. They want to put you in prison for hurting the fifis. That's right. That's coming here. They want to be able to have their way with your children, and if you say anything, they want to put you in prison. We need more Russian Woods treatment. In November, trans-identified male Brian Nguyen made international headlines after being awarded the crown in the Miss Greater Dairy pageant in New Hampshire. The competition was a locally run event under the National Miss America series of pageants. In addition to winning the crown, Nguyen received the Miss Greater Dairy Scholarship, a financial award established to support young women in their academic careers. That's right, women. You wanted it. Now you got it. You wanted to be inclusive. So women wanted to invade all of men's spaces, and women started to buy all of the intersectional bullshit. And now men are now going to take everything away from you that you've gotten over the last, 40, 50 years. Good job. This is what being a coward gets you. Congratulations. The month prior, Thai transgender beauty mogul Yakapong An, I can't say that last name, purchased the Miss Universe competition for $20 million. In the announcement made by what's-his-name's company, JKN Global Group, it was claimed the move marked the first time the historic pageant was owned by a woman. That's right. Women are no longer women. Now men are women. That's right. And like that thing in Brazil, they want to put you in prison for calling them men. And we got another They're Coming for the Kids today. I always wondered how much the black community supported this whole trans thing. Because if you look at a lot of the trans homicides, a lot of them are committed by the black community. So I'm just curious how the trans community and the black community, how the clashing, the real clashing hasn't started yet. A lot of black mammies who are college educated seem to be with it. Like if you look at Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Jackson, she went real easy on a black pedophile who was looking at CP at Cheese Pizza. If you know what I'm saying, she gave him 3 months. She had to go easy on him. And then 5 years later, he was caught doing it again. Rikita Law goes over the court case. And now she's on the Supreme Court. You should listen to her decisions about minority hiring. Of course, the minority hire is all about hiring minorities. Of course she is, because that's the only way she got on the Supreme Court. Anyway, shocking. Detroit sixth graders pole dance during field trip stop. On the club's website, it stated that all guests must be 21 with a valid ID, a rule that was apparently not followed the day of the field trip. Yep. I'll let that sink in. the public school is against you. Okay. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't now they're coming after your kids. And I mean, I knew people were weak, but I didn't expect them to be this weak, and I just think that, maybe we just deserve to be conquered, you know. Maybe we do. A Michigan middle school field trip took a disturbing turn when the group stopped at a downtown Detroit nightclub, with shocking pictures of adolescent students partaking in pole dancing going viral. According to the blog of Rochester Community School trustee Andrew Weaver, a November field trip from the school district's Hart Middle School to the Detroit Symphony Orchestra somehow resulted in sixth graders being taken to a club when space ran out at the Connected Pizza restaurant. The students were also taken to lunch at Nikki's Pizza, which is attached to Nikki's Lounge, wrote Weaver on his Facebook page, finding the right answer. The students were moved from Nikki's Pizza due to a lack of available space to the lounge where they tried out some pole dancing. Attached to the post were the images of children dancing on the poles, which made rounds on Twitter after being shared by libs of TikTok, who said the district has reportedly refused to address it. So, of course, libs of TikTok has to be doxxed and murked by lefties, right? And of course, this isn't the school's fault. This is somehow going to be libs of TikTok's fault. That's what Taylor Lorenz will say. She wants to protect the children by I don't understand the mental gymnastics of these people. You want to protect the children by sexualizing the children so adults can. According to downtown Detroit bars, Nikki's Lounge is one of the hottest night spots in Greektown and in all of Detroit. On the club's website, it is stated that all guests must be 21 with a valid ID, a rule that was apparently not followed the day of the field trip. The dress code displayed on the site is described as grown and sexy. I don't know what's more disturbing, that RCS took a group of sixth graders on a school-sponsored field trip to a gentleman's club complete with stripper poles, or the fact that there are parents out there that see nothing wrong with this and are defending the decision, wrote one concerned commenter on the original Facebook post. RCS Executive Director of Strategic Communication Lori Green told the Daily Caller that the district did not take students on a field trip to an eatery attached to a strip club. I mean, this would be a he said, she said, but then who are these kids and what is this they're dancing on? That is that really your response? Is that really your response, is to try to gaslight us? Typical lefty tactic number one. It didn't happen. This is how you know you're talking to a lefty. Typical argument tactic number one. It didn't happen. Then later, when you prove it, they'll say, oh, but we have to educate your children. They're actually not really your children. They belong to the state. Proposed field trips are evaluated by the curriculum team and require a parental guardian permission slip. RCS may ask parents, caregivers, or other responsible adults to serve as field trip chaperones when appropriate. Adult chaperones are required to complete background checks, she said. The safety and security of our students, staff, and school community is always a priority. Agatha Kalfalinos, the owner of Nikki's Pizza and Nikki's Lounge, told the outfit that the school was told when the reservation was made that they would have to be seated in the upstairs club area. When we have a group of 100, they can't just walk in. There is no way we could accommodate them, Kefalino said. We can only accommodate a certain number in the restaurant. Typically, when we have a group of over 100 people, we give them the option of going to our second floor, which is operated as a club on Saturday nights but is closed during the day. However, according to Kefalinos, the poles the students were dancing on are not stripper poles and have never been used for that purpose, and instead called them part of the decorations. That's not what they're used for. So when you have parties, so you just have these random poles here and seating in the direction of the poles for parties of over 100, and that's not what these are used for. Okay. And finally, defensive gun use. Again, if anyone ever watches my channel, this is the gun violence archive, link in the description. The media is trying to disarm you, and I covered defensive gun uses, so we have one today, and they happen every day. And if anyone ever wants to jump in and talk, that's fine. I'm always curious what people think, but I think people should be allowed to defend themselves, and only the government having guns freaks me out.
Person is dead after a shooting at the Gold Nugget overnight. News Channel 7's Sam Martello is live there this morning to give us the latest on the investigation. Sam, what do we know now?
Yeah, Jess, exactly what you just said. The Panama City Police tell us one person is dead after a shooting at the Gold Nugget. Now, we did speak to the chief of police this morning, Mark Smith, and he tells us that the shooting happened at around 4:15 this morning when the club was closing. According to police, an individual was leaving the club and started shooting. That's when another individual from inside the club came out.
He was probably told to leave. Context clue.
And shot the original individual. The original shooter is dead. Again, the original shooter is.
So the guy went out to a car, grabbed the gun, started shooting into the club, and I'm going to call Good Samaritan. Good guy with the gun stopped him. But you'll never hear this on mainstream media because according to the FBI, this never happens.
Dead. The person who shot them is in custody, being questioned during this active investigation. So again, this is an active investigation, and Jess will head back to you.
All right, Sam, and a couple of things. The police chief said that they don't know if any charges will be filed at this time, correct?
Correct, and that's why they're saying it is an active investigation, because they don't know what charges, if any, they will be filing.
And as far as the general...
Yeah, like, again, what charge... What would that say as a community if they charged this guy? So let me understand what this woman just said. Let me understand. A guy goes out to his car, gets a gun, and starts to fire into a business. And then someone else stops him, right? So potentially an active shooter. Now the police, their procedure is to put down an active shooter. But when a citizen does it, now suddenly we got to jump through all these hoops, and oh, well, maybe you should have what? Should have what? Let him keep shooting, kill innocent people that are just trying to make a living. I understand it's a strip club, but guess what? Strippers deserve to eat too, okay? Again, why is the focus on the good guy and not the fucking psychopath who opened fire into a business? I hate the media.
Public, is there any risk to the public at this time, or is...
No, there's no risk to the public because the psychopath who opened fire is dead. I support the police, but they can't always be there. Like I always say, 9 minutes is the average response time where I live. But the hollow points I carry, shout out to Buffalo Boar, travel at 1,000 feet per second. Which odds would you want?
Is traffic blocked in that area?
No, there is no threat to the public at this time, and there is no traffic as well. Highway 98 is open. Traffic is flowing just fine.
So that's enough. So anyway, you get the idea. I don't understand. Again, why isn't the focus on the psychopath? Wow, that's crazy. A guy just went into his car and opened fire in a building. What are the police doing about the Good Samaritan? What are the police doing about the good guy? Wow, the police weren't there. Thank God this person. Why does the news never say any of that? That drives me insane. How about thank you, good guy? How about thank you, concerned citizen? Thank you for stopping this psychopath. We appreciate it. That's all I got today. I'm big time. That's news to me.